and now it's quiet. No talking with your friends, with your classmates. It's quiet. Now it's completely quiet. Just me and my thoughts. No more, nobody else. And if I keep looking at here, it's because I have my notes. So, you can be alone without being lonely. We talked about this yesterday. You can and you should get used to being alone and make yourself comfortable. Do some things that makes it a lot easier. As me, I like peace and quiet sometimes. I like being at the cabin sometimes, even though I also want people there. But I do enjoy some alone time, being alone. Playing the guitar helps, listening to music, reading a book, that helps, right? Because it's a lot harder to focus on that when I am with people. It's almost impossible. You can feel lonely even though you are with people if you don't have, let's say, the same sort of hobbies, interests, all that shit. So even though you are alone and you feel lonely, you can still feel lonely when you are with people, right? So it's all about having that same sort of chemistry and being together, having that same interests. So it's not just if you are with people, you will automatically feel better. It's not. That's not how it works, right? I had this period in high school where I had two friend groups. One friend group, a bit more pressure when it comes to looking the way you look, doing this and that. You have to do this to be cool. But with the other group, the group of friends that I am still with to this day, because they're so good, right? That wasn't the case, right? It was just about being friends, having laughs together, doing things together, experience things together. That was the main thing, and it still is, right? Being together, having that laugh, talk about shit, right? In the other friend group, it wasn't like that. And when I was in that friend group, I felt alone, right? And this was sort of the funny thing. In the cafeteria, the group was here and the group was there. The group I'm still with, that was a good group. When I was with that group, this is sort of this time was sort of in the period where I was transferring to that other good group. So when I was with this group, I felt alone, a lot of talking about, oh, do you know how crazy we went last weekend? We were drinking and it was crazy. I was never sort of happy with drinking. I never enjoyed that. So I didn't have a lot to talk about. So I felt a lot more lonely, right? I couldn't relate to these guys. They were going crazy, doing a bunch of stupid stuff. And then the loudest, I wouldn't necessarily say the loudest, but the most relaxed sort of group, right? What we call the mandem, right? Those guys, I was looking over and they were all laughing, having a good time, sort of teasing or not bullying, but you get the idea, just joking with each other, right? Because they're so comfortable with each other. They don't care, right? They're all here for a good time. You could really feel that you were looking forward to being with them in the break period, right? When you were having lunchtime. But with this group, I could really I was dreading to having lunch and break time because it was that, oh, you have to talk about this, you have to be crazy, you have to do this and that, so you fit in, right? But this group, it was all about talking fun. I was having a bad day sometime and they were just, they saw it and made my day when I was with that good group. And what it sort of ended up what it sort of ended up as was I ended up with this group and I had a bunch of fun. And I really wish I was with that group a lot earlier than I was with this group. And as I said, I'm still with this group, so I'm fairly enjoying being with my friends, the real friends. Yeah, it does matter who you're with, right? So there's two sides of the story. And back to sort of my routine, right? You have school, a bunch of pressure from that. Get the best grades, or I have to get the best grades, right? I really do. And with that comes pressure. You have to do school all the time. You have to do this and that, and you have to do. You don't have time really to mess about. So, and a lot of my friends also have this, right? They can't just slack off of school and wait until everybody is free. They also have to focus, even if it's school or a job. There's a lot of other things, right? I have a pretty normal routine, I would say. School, even early, or mostly early for now. Early lectures, training, gym early as well, and then school and a bunch of food afterwards, right? And that really packs up and sort of makes you pretty occupied for the rest of the day. And that can make it difficult, right? And as I mentioned on the first sort of video and clip of this video, or the whole video, it can become quite empty. I am at home. There's nobody in the house. My mom is at work. My brother is away, and my other brothers are away. Completely quiet, no people. Sort of they are occupied and doing their thing, and it can feel a bit lonely, definitely. But you can also be alone. Use that time, be effective, productive, whatever you want to call it. You have a bunch of time to do whatever you want, right? But yeah, it's completely quiet. It's only you and your thoughts, and very often, especially in these days, your thoughts can be very negative, very stress impacting, or stress exploding, and it isn't that fun, right? But try to find something you enjoy, you know? Very often I get very stressed out doing school, right? Because the all the worries, and not always, but sometimes the stress and worries comes into your head. You're sort of trying to do these different tasks, and you're like, oh, I can't do. I'm struggling really hard, and I got exam, and I can't even do this, right? Oh, I have such a bad time, and it's right one day at a time, and sort of make it enjoyable, if that makes sense. Very or let's say in religion and ethics, one of the sort of lectures or sort of things I have right now. It can be boring, right? But we have philosophy, and I quite enjoy that. And we also have about different religions, of course, and try to make it so it's maybe hard to do this, but you will have a positive outcome of learning these things, right? Learning different things of different religions, whereas in it's not a religious country, but it's very impacted by Christianity. Also, right, Norway. So having more information about Buddhism, I'm not sure how is Islam or that religion, being a Muslim, or even though Christianity, having more sort of facts about that may be actually very positive, and may sort of impact, let's say, politics for you, or your view on life, and let's say Buddhism and Islam, right? They may also have very good sort of viewpoints and arguments for you. through life, right? So there's a bunch of things that can impact you in, let's say, religion and philosophy. I like it because it sort of questions the big things in the world and sort of makes me humble. It makes me very humble, right? So we have that. I have the Norwegian literature and language. I can really have good use of being better at this because it can help me through work sooner, right? And then I also have, give me 2 seconds. This may be very social studies, right? I also have social studies, which is also extremely important if I, let's say, want to be a lawyer, which is what I am targeting right now. So being really good at that is very cool, and sort of having that knowledge through politics, sort of the vote day, let's say we call it that, vote day. It's almost election day. It's almost election day here in Norway. Therefore, more interesting to learn about the different parties and politics there. Learning about socializing just in general gives you sort of more knowledge, or more knowledge about sort of everything, right? The primary, the secondary part of socializing, and it can help you, right? All of this can help you become a more smarter person. You need to use it in your daily life to actually sort of make it into wisdom, or being wise, right? But that comes through reading and sort of experiencing. So with these arguments, of course I want to do these things, right? So I make it more exciting. The less thoughts about being by myself, or the thought of being by myself, being lonely, sort of goes a bit away, because I feel like I'm actually learning and doing sort of things that matter. Being social is important, right? You have to be social. So it isn't sort of like it isn't a thing that you should just move away. I've mentioned this. We are social people, so we need to be social, and yeah, it's just a fact. So, and if you want to be successful in your life, let's say, you have to be a good social person. That may sound a bit exhausting for a lot of people, and it even sounds a bit exhausting for me, because I at times can be very social. At times I can be having a bad day, or I can be very socially drained, right? And then you're sort of thinking, oh, I have to be social every day. You have to be super social. That is a good thing, right? But yeah, there's different sort of things to that. You can have a good relationship with your family. Try to do that. That's a very good start. Friends and family, very good. My routine sort of makes it seem like I have a lot less time socially, but you have to also remember your friends and your family does also have things to do, right? So just doing nothing and waiting for them to have enough time isn't good, right? You have to be busy, and then you can set yourself some free time and here and there. And I did mention this, like, if you work, let's say, a lot, just in general a lot, it's even easier to set yourself time for people, because then you already in general are a pretty hard working person. So let's say I do nothing the last week, and then I set myself some time. You're postponing even more of doing hard work. It becomes almost a burden being social if you are not doing hard work. If you're doing hard work and then you be social, you get two good things, right? But doing nothing and then socialize, it becomes, a big difference. And you need both, right? You need both. Yeah, that was my point, right? The balance between being disciplined and being sort of having that need to being social. You need to be social and you need to be disciplined, right? Try to have that balance. Try to balance it out. You work a lot through the whole week, let's say Monday to Friday, all the work day, and then you set yourself for a friend's night at, let's say, Saturday, Friday, or Sunday. Okay, it's Friday. Okay, let's maybe work Saturday or Sunday. I work Friday, Sunday. Let's set some time to Saturday, right? Try to give some sort of work, and giving you or giving your friends sort of the initiative, or try to initiate, how do I say this? Them seeing that you try to initiate some sort of things, it matters, right? It says, if you can't be with your friends on Friday, then you say, okay, I can't do this, but I can on Saturday and Sunday, right? That shows initiative, that you actually want to be with them. So just don't say that you can't work this day and nothing else. Try to initiate some things. Say that you can this, but I can this and this. That does a lot, right? It shows that you care. And you're not alone with this, right? I just posted a video of this yesterday, and a person said they can relate to this. Me and him, we are not alone, right? There's a bunch of people having the same problem right now. Being in your 20s, you're trying to discover, you're trying to do the hard work. You're trying to work up to, let's say, having a good job in your 30s, and then blah, 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 blah. Or experiencing in your 20s and doing blah, blah, blah. But that sort of comes with being alone, because when you're trying to become a new person, or trying to evolve, right? You're sort of evolving away, or sort of evolving away from the main people in your life, or the same people in your life that you had through high school. But very often you won't be the person you were in high school, because you're always changing, right? And in your 20s, you're changing a lot. So there's a lot of friends I knew in high school that I don't spend time with anymore. And that is sort of the consequence of trying to become a new person, trying to become this and that, having these goals. You will lose friends, and with that, you will become a bit more alone, right? You will have more free time. So yeah, you're just gonna have to deal with that. This is what I said, going through, if you're going to try a new education, maybe you have to go to a new city where you have no friends, and therefore new routines. You're going to be trying to do uncomfortable things all the time, or you definitely should. Not too much, right? But you need to challenge yourself. And yeah, new education, new city, or new plans, it always comes with new challenges. But it comes with a bunch of positives, right? Being alone. It challenges you. It's a challenging thing, or I wouldn't be talking about it. But it creates time to focus more, give yourself time to self-develop, which is very important. Sort of being with if you give yourself 30 minutes to write down what you want and all that shit, and just really think about who you want to be with, and sort of be alone and don't have any other people tell yourself or tell you what to do, right? You can come very far and get yourself a bunch of genuine answers from that. So yeah, you can reflect, build more ambition. There's a good thing about being alone, right? Learning about being comfortable in your own company. I did talk about this. I do find myself time to entertain myself. Let's say guitar, reading, watch a movie by myself. I even watch movies in the cinema alone. I don't care. I've been at stand-ups alone. I don't care. I have a good time, right? Being comfortable with myself. I have been at these things alone. A bunch of sort of things, right? I don't have an issue with it. Of course, it would be nice to have some, but it doesn't affect me that much, right? It doesn't sort of. It would be nice, but I don't mind, right? I don't. It would be nice, but I don't mind. That's sort of the thing, right? Sort of your creativity and sort of self-talk comes when you are alone and haven't. When it's quiet, you don't have too much noise, and yeah, you can sort of get the feel of missing out. But I got the feel I have been traveling by myself in a different country a couple of times, and I still feel I'm missing out, right? So you never will be 100% happy. And yeah, of course you feel like you're missing out, but let's say a group of friends is drinking a weekend and you can't. For me, it couldn't be easier, right? I really don't like drinking, and yeah, you feel like you're missing out on a bunch of fun, but that's not the fun I look at. So if you want a bunch of more arguments for that, I can tell you. Yeah, sort of lacking in social things is a problem. You shouldn't be too much alone. So being isolated from the world, it's not a good thing. So don't be, right? You have to be social. And that's a part of you changing. And it really helps you change. So, reading about a bunch of things makes you a bit more clever, maybe, but actually doing them makes you even more clever because it gets programmed in your head. Yeah, try to balance it. Do things that you like doing alone. I love watching movies. I love being at stand-up. My friends can't be with me on this. Okay, I go alone. No issue. No problem. Yeah, it may be scary, but a bunch of times I've talked with the people I'm sitting next to, and we've had a good time. That also comes with being an extra in movies and stuff. I meet a bunch of new people there. I often go alone, and it's such a fun experience and changing experience. So yeah, how do you experience the difference of being alone and lonely? Write it in the comments. I don't have all the answers. I'm still 20 years old, but I do have some thoughts, and these are the thoughts I just told you. This is the ending of the video. If you want me to talk about it more, please tell me. And if you want me to talk about something else, but in this way, tell me. Hope you had a good day. Hope you will have a good day. Have a laugh, have a smile, and be kind. Be alone. Make it comfortable. Don't be isolated. I did say something that I just forgot. It was a good quote, and it would be nice, but I don't mind, right? Yeah. Take care. Goodbye.